I'm Shane Nyland, and my co host is Blake Musser. And these stories you're about to hear are from Weapons Company, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, 1st Marine Division, about the events surrounding and directly from the mouths of the people who were in Ramadi 2004. This is part 2 of our conversation with Jon Wade, 81mm mortars, sledgehammer platoon.
Yeah, they come out and talk to us. They're like, "Oh, well, wait a minute. Where'd you get this guy?" You know how like the intel was like, not the best in Ramadi. Like we didn't get a whole lot of intel coming back to us about the guys that we were snatching up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was
I think if I remember correctly too on this one, sorry to interrupt you, but if I remember correctly, this was kind of early on, I think, because if this is the same one, I think we were having trouble making entry to the compound itself. And that's how he got away, is that we still hadn't figured out how to get past the gate.
Yeah. So
those 10-foot walls.
Yeah, I had the chains around the gate, and it was tough breaking the chains and getting in there. We didn't have any breaching tools or anything like that, like we could use to. So I think we ended up hitting it with a truck or something to break that open. But
if I remember correctly, I think we did hit it with a truck to break the gate, and then there was, I remember you and me, and I think it was Rocha too, that were like some first entry into there, and we snatched the guy up, and then leave it. I left you downstairs as I pushed upstairs.
Yep.
Now, did you guys do this like actual mount style, stack on door, kick door open, breach, enter, clear?
Yeah, we attempted to, but it got real ugly because of that chain on that gate. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have any bolt cutters or anything like that to kind of get in there. So like it.
Well, and we also
like later on where we were using the high backs to jump over the wall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was, we learned a lot. Like initially when we first, like, that's why I bring this one up, because it was so early. Like when we hit that door, we kind of got like choked up right there at the front, but then everybody piled in, everybody started really wanting to find work and really started clearing the place. And I just got left downstairs with that guy, and dude, he was down there laughing and like pointing at, man, I wanted to, but I didn't.
No, early on we were, and even later, we weren't overly surgical while we were doing it. We were very violence of force mentality of like, I would rather get the drop on them than try to be too. And I remember one of my philosophies was, I want to get upstairs as fast as possible.
Yep.
And so I would leave the downstairs for everybody else, and I would just fucking plow until I could find the stairs and get upstairs with whoever was following me.
Yeah, so, we were very, very, very much at the beginning of that deployment a broadsword, not a scalpel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We I mean, it made sense because our call sign was sledgehammer. We would seriously 20-pound sledgehammer and, overwhelm you with dudes, because a lot of our dudes were they were amped up to do the job, man. So,
well, that's kind of why I asked about the CQB tactics specifically, because the few times I saw you guys clear houses, I felt like that was, you go to Mount Town and you learn all this like almost police tactics, stuff that would probably work in certain situations.
Sure.
But I specifically remember you guys more running through the front door and with like 50 dudes. Like it was like, we're just going to overwhelm you. Like it was like more like a beehive than it was like real mount tactics. And it worked. I remember you guys taking contact in houses.
Yeah.
But no one ever got significantly hurt doing that.
Yeah.
I remember I remember several times engaging or having enemy combatants inside the house. And the one time that he did try and shoot, that most of the time they were so shocked that we were just running straight at them and seeing, like hell on earth coming flying at them, that they were they're frozen in fear.
Yeah.
I had two guys draw down and actually pull the trigger. But again, I kind of recognized that they were a bad shot in the first place, but that I was also going off of the assumption that their fear wasn't going to hit me.
Yeah.
And so just plowed them over. I remember I knocked the one down. I think it was Hersher that grabbed him after, because I think we were out there with, I think it was that time was when we were out there with Rainmaker, but somebody came up behind me and actually secured them as I kept, because again, my goal was to get up onto the roof as fast as possible, because a lot of times the reason why we're kicking down the door is somebody was shooting from the rooftop
and then jumping off the side.
Yeah, exactly. And so we were trying to grab a guy. But I was going to bring up
question about the surgical side of it. Like once we hit like Mustard said, we try to get to the roof as fast as possible. But once we hit that doorway that we would release to the roof of the house, that's when we would slow down, and that would turn into a CQB situation as opposed to, but getting in the house, we gained a foothold like no other. Like we would bomb first in the house like crazy.
Dude, it's, probably from the description, none of us are doing it justice. It probably sounds retarded. Like we were just mobbing in there, but it worked really fucking well. That's the thing. Is again, I only saw it a few times in person because most of the time that was not my job. But the times that I saw it, I was like, this is working perfectly. And you could repeat it 100 times. So it worked really well. Yeah.
Well, I think if I remember now that we're talking about it, my memory of it is that people knew that I was focused on getting onto the roof, and people knew to follow me. And I think people kind of knew who that team, who should be there, but also recognizing if something was coming, if something was more pressing, take care of that as I go forward. And we kind of had, and as we have talked before, going back to the truck teams, after you do it several times, you start becoming an extension of each other, and you kind of know what needs to happen.
That comes from so many things. Like we were so tight as a unit, and it even stemmed from the deployment before that. Like we would all go on limo together. We all knew each other's families. We all loved each other to the point where we're not going to let you go through that door by yourself. Train on top of that, and then were building experience on this deployment. I think all of that combined was, it looked ridiculous when we ran into the house, but it worked. And again, if it worked, we could chalk that up to a success,
So, I don't think anybody's going to write that in a CQB manual, but it fucking worked really well.
Hell no. But I'm telling you, I brought that to units after I did. We were just as tight at 1-7 as we were at 2-4, because I made it mandatory. We would meet each other's families. We'd have family nights. We'd have barbecues and stuff like that. The whole platoon would get together on Saturdays, and we would break bread together. And we knew why we were going through that door. It's important. And
100%.
I learned all that leadership, from the guys that I served with in 2-4. So I brought that to the rest of my career.
Do you remember that door that we couldn't get open? It was damn thing was 6 feet wide and 8 feet tall. It was solid wood.
Oh yeah.
And it was you and somebody else was trying to mule kick that for
man, I must
for 15 minutes.
I think I blew my knee out trying to kick that door.
There was no surprise on that one. We were
man, I'm going to get through it.
we eventually did. But
we did. I was like, oh, God, man, find me a sledgehammer or something. I need to. Damn. Yeah.
That's too funny.
It's funny the difference, because we're all in the same company, right? But it's funny the difference. Map 3 had all of the guys who were trained in breaching. They had all gone to breachers course. They actually knew how to blow down doors. They were blowing doors down. And you guys are we have a large Lance Corporal. We'll just use him. That. That's the goal.
Bench press 1 million pounds. Let him go through that door.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't need urban mobility breachers course. Come on now.
No. Yeah. It's such a funny difference between just two platoons in the same exact spot.
Put some jalapeno on it. Lance Corporal eat his way through that day. Awesome.
So let's go back to after Worth. Did you, and let's jump forward a little bit to early April, first Battle of Ramadi. Now we were on camp that week.
Yeah.
And I was in the company, I was radio that when it first kicked off, I was manning the radio. What was, where were you? And did you end up being part of the, one of the people that got snatched up to go out later? And
I did not go out the first day. The first day I was up on post, up on top of the bridge. And I'm sitting up there and I'm listening to all this on the radio, and I'm listening to the ROEs change, and, you know, we're watching guys ride around on motorcycles and stuff like that. And we're watching rockets get fired and all kinds of madness. I did go out when we piecemealed everything together the next couple of days. But the first day I was on post, I was up there with Wolf.
Okay.
And
did you guys engage from up there? Did you have any targets of opportunity?
I actually didn't engage that day. There was nothing. Pulled out a lot of intel about because remember there was individuals that were riding motorcycles and stuff like that, and there was a whole lot of individuals that were instigators, reinforcement guys, stuff like that, observers, all kinds of stuff. So I would throw a lot of intel out on it, but we did not engage from the bridge that day.
Yeah, on the 6th, that was the
correct
from what I saw in the north of the city. That was the heaviest way that they were reinforcing was it'd be a second or even sometimes 3 dudes on a motorcycle,
right.
And they drop off the back 2 guys. The motorcycle guy would speed off and pick up, and they were able to literally surround a unit very quickly because you could drop you off anywhere and constantly move people around. And ammunition and weapons. I did see that as well, where there was people carrying RPKs and stuff, and like literally driving over, and then you'd see the same motorcycle speed off, and they weren't carrying it anymore, so they're dropping it off to somebody.
So they were actually smart enough not to ride across that bridge or around that roundabout in front of Hurricane Point with any of the ammunition and stuff like that. They weren't within like machine gun range of us because we obviously would have dealt with it.
Right.
But we were calling it out, letting everybody, because you remember how you could get to Route Nova and you could see it from the top of the bridge and Michigan down. So we would call it out. Hey, they're being reinforced on this side. I don't know how much of that intel you guys were receiving, but we were calling it out that there was a lot of movement. And then once the whole thing kicked off, like anybody on the streets, you could tell they were invested. So yeah, so that's my day. I got stuck on post. Shit, I mean, we couldn't even get relief. Like we had to stay up there because all the guys were like reinforcing and everything like that. Because I understood it completely, but the first day, the 6th, I got caught on post. So
what'd you end up doing on the 7th?
7th, we would get in our vehicles and we would get in where we fit in, kind of thing. Like any of the map platoons would go out, or we would, piecemeal things together, and we would ride out to do reinforcements, medevac runs, any of that stuff. So yeah, the city was crazy, man. You saw it more than I did, but yeah.
And I know you guys were very heavily used for the 8th and the 10th. I'm curious, do you remember much of either of those? 8th was Operation, I think it was County Fair is what it was called. I don't know. Let me look at my notes. I always have to look. Yeah, it's Operation County Fair. That was the first small scale cordon search. And then on the 10th was the bigger one. That was the first big bug hunt when did everything. Yeah.
Yep. We had a couple of different little compounds that we were responsible for. Like we had the cordon search, whatever. And there was some engagements here and there. You guys were in way more engagements than we were on those. We were caught in searching and all kinds of other shit.
Actually, on the 10th, we did, as far as like heavy gunfighting, very little. We got in a short skirmish with a car of reinforcements that just basically took a wrong turn, I think, and met us. But outside of that, we were mostly the outer cordon element. I felt like it was you guys and Golf and Echo that ended up in more gunfights on the 8th and 10th. We were a bit more busy on the 6th and 7th.
Okay.
And then sort of after that, anything that pops to mind sort of going into March, or I'm sorry, into May?
See the dates. See, you guys are better at remembering the dates than me.
That's just because we wrote it down.
I was gonna say I have the benefit of writing all this down after talking to everybody. So
okay. Yeah. So when did the sergeant major running off into the night happen?
So that was actually before the Battle of Ramadi. That was on April 1st.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's a good memory if you want to tell that one.
Oh man, dude. Was that the same night that the RPG got shot down the road and came through the window of the high back and hit that engineer guy?
I think so. Or at least it was close. It was near about that time.
So
that was our first that was like our first casualty night. And I think if I remember correctly, I think that's why we were all out.
So then
because we had the battalion commander and the sergeant major and I think the XO like all with us because we were quick reaction. We were the quick reaction force and we went out after they got hit, if I remember my timeline correctly.
Maybe. So as far as I know, depending on which engineer you're talking about, if you're talking about the one that was attached to Fox Company, Lance Corporal Dang, that was actually a week prior. So that was a different time. However, on the night of April 1st, when you would have had that, there was an Army brigade that had their engineer guys got hit by an IED. And so that may have been the same thing. I think that's why the command element was part of that when the Army got hit and they asked for reinforcements. So the command element went out.
Yeah.
With you guys as reinforcements.
Okay. Yeah. The one where we chased old boy around, and he ran up to that tow truck. And then the other guy, either Musser, you or Cook, I think, shot the guy. And he was in the alley, and we were still. I thought that was the same night we were looking for the sergeant major.
Yeah, that was the night that he took off. Yeah,
yeah,
and we were looking for. I would see him pop up every once in a while, and eventually,
we're like, "Where the hell have you been, guy?" Like.
Well, then that's when we found then we tracked the guy got shot.
Yeah,
had found him at the actually my memory of that one is that they had pulled him between the house and the wall for the compound, and they were spraying down the driveway to get rid of the blood smear, and we got in there, and I don't remember who it was, but one of the officers had their little deck of cards out and being like, is this one of the bad guys? You know, and we were trying to like, and he couldn't see their face, but this motherfucker was fat as fuck.
Yeah.
And he was dead. And it was just big enough for me to get back there. And I'm like trying to drag this body out from between this. This dude was probably 200 some odd pounds. I'm a $160, you know, and I finally get him out and he's on his stomach. And, the officer that asked me to he's like, flip him over. I need to see his face. And I'm like, sir, I'm already covered in this dude's blood. I finally flip him over and I barely got him over. And when I dropped him, his head hit the ground and made a pretty big, coconut sound. And whichever officer it was, he ended up throwing up because he got like, it was too gory or whatever. He was like, oh, too much. And I was like, well, do you see his face now? He's like, just take a picture. And I was like, okay. So I pulled my camera out, took a picture, and then we submitted it. So
yeah, that ever turned out to be anybody?
I don't remember.
Yeah, see,
I don't think so.
Never came back down to us. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, no, I very rarely did we find out whether or not, or at least I never found out. I mean, maybe it was coming down. Nyland, you were in more of those briefings than I ever was, and so I don't know if you guys, if the information filtered back down. But I mean, the number of steps to have it come back to us was absolutely stupid.
There was only two of the big high values. Well, I guess three big high values that I ever heard of. Number one was Map One did a coordinated search on the morning of April 6th before the Battle of Ramadi ever kicked off and got one of the Republican Guard guys that was in the deck of cards.
Yep.
On the 7th, there was a guy who was involved in a gunfight, got shot through the leg, and he ended up being somebody very important. I don't know what he was. He was somebody very important that was also in the deck of cards. And then in very much later in the deployment, this is all the intel that I ever remember getting back. In August, that was when our Delta team and you guys as the cordon sussed out the driver for it was Zarqawi's driver and a couple other of Zarqawi's associates who ended up being Al Qaeda.
That would have been the one that Oliver North was with us on.
There were two brothers in that, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That was August.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that because they actually tracked me down later on. I think you guys have all gotten out by then, but they tracked me down and they actually had to have me do a Zoom thing like this and tell them about that whole operation so that they could keep him in jail. Like
no shit.
Brothers still in jail, and they're actually those are the only two that I ever got intel on. But yeah, they called me and they said, "Hey, we need you to make a statement or whatever about how you caught him or whatever and what the intel was." I said, "I don't know. I got to be honest with you, man. I didn't know the intel until we got them to the detainment center that these guys were, somebody important."
Yeah. And that's a very good point. Is that we didn't get pre-op intel on very many things like that. We just if you see somebody, snatch them up. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we knew this one was a bigger one, and it because Delta was a part of it.
Right. That was the only indication that something was going on.
Yeah. And then that's the one that Oliver North was with us on also. And that was a big compound. There was a fuck ton of people in that place. But that's also the one, I don't know if you remember this, Wade, but that was also the time that some rando came up to the compound and asked to make a long story short, asked to get some people out of there, that they were like some sort of asset for some sort of alphabet company. And they came in after getting clearance and stuff like that. And we already had put bags over their heads, and they picked up the bags of everybody and picked, I think it was like two guys, and where's their gear? And we handed, took their bags, took the bags off their heads, cut their zip ties, gave them back their stuff, and they walked down the street. But it was two guys. They were American.
They were Americans. That was a CIA guy. Yeah, he showed up every once in a while. And what's funny is he had red hair and did not fit in as an Iraqi at all. But he always wore the Distasha and the man dress and faked it. But
but then they had the informant guy. They had the guy that they had flipped that they brought in, and he was pointing everybody out. Remember
I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah, he was on everybody. Remember that? He faked a limp, and he'd come walking in, and he's like, "Yeah, that guy's involved. That guy's involved. Whatever." And the Delta guys were like, "Hey, snatch these guys up, whatever." And we all transported them over. But then Oliver North, like you said, Oliver North was with us, and then they made him stop recording and all this other shit.
I remember those Delta guys kept trying to get in the shot, and Oliver North kept he hand face palmed the one out of the shot. And he's like, "You guys didn't do shit. These Marines are the ones that kicked down the door and did everything. Get out of my shot."
Yeah, we hit that house and we secured the whole thing. That, like you said, that compound was fucking huge, man.
Yeah,
it had the whole interior was all open and had all the sleeping where everybody slept outside and stuff like that. That was a huge compound.
That's scary.
We asked them who they were, and they would. We can't tell you who we are.
Right.
Okay. Fucking squirrel.
I remember when we first breached in there, and I looked around. I was like, "Oh fuck, this could get weird quick." Fortunately, fortunately that one went really smoothly, but that could have been that would have been bad.
I got to be honest with you. I think that was the first time we ever hit a house that we didn't find any weapons at all.
Yeah, they were smart. Supposedly that was Zarqawi's mom or aunt or something. No, it was his relative. It was her house. And so they weren't allowed to bring anything there. That was what we were told afterwards.
Yeah. Keep her safe. Like you can't give her any reason to go to jail. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And nobody did. We didn't take her in at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Was it your guys that that started the whole Humvee chase of what they thought was Sarkawi on Route Michigan?
Wasn't me. I mean, we chased down a few vehicles, but it wasn't me.
Oh. I can't remember what map platoon it was that started that whole thing, but there was like a whole like car chase of, thinking it was him or whatever. And like we had all kinds of air assets coming in.
Nope. No, that was a one mission where we actually had like everything. We had drones overhead. We had like actual stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Every other time you were just on whatever your eyeballs could see.
Yeah. We hit that compound. They were like, oh, the Spectre gunship's going to be on station. And all kinds.
Yeah. We had everything.
How'd you get all this?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to have like on a Tuesday.
Yeah. So we skipped a whole big section of everything. Anything, I mean, I can hit you with a bunch of like key events if you want, but otherwise, is there anything that sticks out in your mind for over the summer, basically from like, especially May and June and July? I feel like those were extremely busy months. We had a break in May for a short period of time, but not long.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you remember, Wade, like we were, for whatever reason, we were pretty heavily involved with like doing a lot of the stuff with the transition, like trying to hand over power back. Yeah. And we spent an enormous amount of time
at the government.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember we had, we hit that corrupt cop's house. God, man, this is bringing up some old stuff. I haven't thought about any of this stuff in a lot.
Well, it's good, man. It's all details. Again, you'd be surprised how important all these little weird things from each person. It paints a picture one stroke at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we were at the government center when they found out about this guy, and we rolled out from the government center to go hit this dude's house. What were the details on that one, Mustard? You remember that?
Now that you started talking about it, I'm like this. There's like, is this the one that was it was that big ass. It was a big place.
Yeah, he gave up. We didn't have to like shoot anybody or anything like that. But when we hit his compound was like ridiculously huge, and we ended up hitting his house and taking him to the detainment center. And of course, we didn't get any intel brief on what they got out of him, but he was like somebody was in there, and we were talking about they were talking to the government officials about this dude being corrupt, and we just rolled out and hit his house like straight from the government center. And a lot of weapons, a lot of other things. I think that's where we found all those RPGs and the RPG triggers. And
oh, right. Is that the place that had the big ass kitchen that was set? It was not a part of the main house. And then I think that's also the place that they had, we found it wasn't a safe, but it was like in the floor, had a bunch of shit inside of it.
Yeah. You pull up all the sleeping mats and it was all in the floorboards. Like it was a bunch of RPGs and RPG triggers.
That's right. Yeah.
I remember from that is that you guys brought back, it had to been it was dozens of cases of weapons. Yeah. That's what I remember. And there was like, I mean, there had been 30 RPGs, rockets, numerous different machine guns, and in good shape. Like they were clean weapons, not the normal, like broke off bullshit, AKs.
We found a bunch of paperwork too, like a ton of foreign currency, like just,
yeah. Yeah. I can't remember what the details were on it because it was like I said, it was like, we're sitting down there with the trucks, and we had a couple of guys on the roof of the government center, and we were like rotating out and doing guard work and stuff like that. And they had people meeting with the government officials, and then next thing we're like, oh, we got to go hit this. And it was just instantaneous. We just rolled right out and we hit that house, and it was crazy how much crap we found in that guy's house. So,
Yeah, he was running it was supposed to be a modified like political party, more or less. It was called like the Coalition for Iraqi Freedom or some shit. I don't know what it's called. Coalition for something. And but it turned out to be that he was caching weapons and he wasn't supposed to. So
right.
I remember that part. I don't remember anything else. You guys did take some shots though, hitting that house because I remember you bringing back 2 shot up dudes, Iraqis that were.
Yeah, I think it was just like minimal though. Like when we rolled up, like I think the guards might have shot at us or something. I don't know, but any of the small little engagements, like none of that really like.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
right. Any other
oh.
deployment, you hit a house and shot 2 dudes would be like you're getting a Bronze Star and you're doing this and like wow, you guys really did some shit. This deployment, this is what we call a Tuesday. Like that was just Correct. It just happened every fucking day.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy. Well, and to that point too, I like talking to you, talking to Rocha, talking to a couple of the other guys that I don't remember half of these firefights at all. And it's like, oh yeah, I guess I did shoot that guy. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also one of those things. It's like, yeah, dude, we were doing our job. Like it wasn't one of those like, later on you got to document all this shit and like everybody's like, measuring dicks for awards and all this other shit. Like deployments that I had after that.
So actually, I'm really curious because we talked about this before we hit the record button, and I would love to hear your version of sort of a compare and contrast between this and you did some later deployments, but you had one other deployment that was very busy to Afghanistan. So I'd love to hear your version since you stayed in for 12 years.
I took a lot of the lessons that that we learned in Ramadi, and I brought those to guys that were going to go to obviously different places. I mean, the lessons don't carry over to every location, but taking care of each other the way we did in Ramadi was huge in me becoming a platoon sergeant later. You know what I'm saying? So I had guys in 1-7 that I showed up and I was like, look, you need to buy into this system. Like you need to buy into this whole we love each other kind of thing, and we don't need any bad eggs around. And we kicked a lot of people out of the Marine Corps at 1-7, and I think it was like eight dudes that were problem kids that got kicked out.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But then we were gearing up for that deployment to Sangin, and I said, look, it's going to get ugly. And, the mentality side of it was the huge key. I was like, look, this is going to get dangerous. People are going to get hurt. You need to understand that going in, and it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be pissed off. It's okay to be a lot of things. Just these emotions are going to run through your body. I said, you need to expect it. And then we geared even PT to include that type of shit. So we would do martial arts PT. I said, I'm not going to deploy with anybody to a combat zone that's never been punched in the mouth. So we're going to fight. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
We're going to go to the range, shoot a lot of rounds. We're going to do a lot of this basic 0311 stuff. We're going to do a lot of 41 stuff. We're going to do a lot of all these other things. And, you're going to be tough. You're going to be ready. And I said, we'd sit down and have a lot of discussions. We would have cookouts at my house, and guys would come over and they'd drink beer, and we'd eat food, and we'd talk about things about, you're going to go through this roller coaster of emotions on deployment. Some of your friends, some of your best friends in the world are going to get hurt. And to be honest with you, that was that deployment made it easy for me to go home. I came home. I brought every one of the 81s home with me.
Congrats.
Yeah, no shit, dude. That's good.
Successful deployment. And my daughter said, hey, I'm tired of watching you go overseas and you're done. And it was okay for me to do that because I kind of went home on a win. You know what I mean? We had guys that got hurt. Had a lot of guys in the company and in the battalion that got hurt. But I brought all my guys home. And that's not me beating my chest. That's one of those things where lessons learned in Ramadi carried over to 1-7. And these guys bought into a system where, we learn from our mistakes and we loved each other enough to protect each other, and we came home all in one piece. So, yeah, very proud of that.
You know, and we've talked to a couple people like yourself. Latham actually comes to mind right now because he also had a very busy career, and Fernandez both stayed in the Marine Corps and had very busy careers and did other deployments. And I think that's a level of closure that you're not going to get in any other way. But you did. You got to go out like it's kind of like going to the Super Bowl and going out on a win, right? You know, you didn't. Where Ramadi didn't always feel like a win because you're right. A lot of people got fucking hurt, and you didn't always know what you were doing or why. I bet that's probably good for your soul in a way.
It is, in a whole lot of ways. Yeah,
that's cool, man.
Coming to the end of the deployment, what do you like? Talk us through what you remember of the last few weeks coming home and what that looked like for you.
So the last couple of weeks was probably the most tense for me. Like, it's like we're doing these, last minute missions, and we're doing these last minute patrols, and we're doing these right seat, left seat for the guys coming in to replace us and stuff like that. And you and I were both advanced party going into it. So we were kind of going to, push out right away, but I was nervous, beyond nervous, like every time we left the gate. I got to be honest with you, man. Like,
you talking about during the left seat, right seats on the way out with 2-5?
Yeah. Well, there's that. And there's, like, even when we started getting short, it's like every push out the gate, you're like, I mean, come on, is this the day they get me or what? Like, you know what I mean? And that's a selfish thing to say. But like self-preservation it started to set into my brain a little bit.
Did you end up developing a lucky charm process or a ritual?
Well, it's crazy because I would, before we go out, I'd put in a brand new dip of chaw. And I said, all right, I'm going condition 1. I tell the guys. And then you remember when Squiv would say that stupid shit? Squiv would say, it's a good day to die. Every time we were out the gate. I was like, will you shut the fuck up, dude?
I love that guy.
Dude, I love that dude, man. I ran into him a few more times after 2-4. Oh, man, dude.
Now, Sergeant E's like one of I have very fond memories of him. I hope it'd be fun to have a conversation with him on here. That's for sure.
So he was a gunny when I was a staff sergeant, and we ran into each other somewhere. I can't remember somewhere in the Marine Corps. And I got a chance to catch up with him for a few minutes. That dude is awesome.
Well, he got to do. He was a part of Desert Fox.
Oh, cool.
So he was over in Kuwait, and what would have been whenever that was, in like 99 or whatever.
99, yeah.
Yeah. And so like that dude had experience on top of experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that guy.
Yeah. So it's funny that you say that you were nervous the last few weeks and the left seat, right seats, and on the way out, because here is my only real like distinct Wade memory. It is not a nervous Wade, that's for damn sure. I don't know why, but close to the end is when I had the most time with Sledgehammer Platoon. For some reason, Map 2 and Sledgehammer were out at the same time a lot of times. And for some fucking reason, your truck got hit. If I remember correctly, it was a pretty good size IED, and they had buried a white phosphorus mortar with it.
Yeah.
And it did hit your vehicle, did not hit anyone. Thank fucking God, because that would have been terrible. Yeah. But it did burn like a big fucking hole in your newer vehicle. And I remember you getting out and then standing on the hood. I had never seen anything fucking like this. You got out of the vehicle, climbed on the hood of the Humvee. I was like, you didn't fucking get me, motherfuckers. You're literally turning in a circle with your hands up, rifle slung, nothing. And then they did shoot. Like we did get shots. And I was like, this is like a fucking movie. Like, I've never seen anything like this. And you're like, you can't even fucking hit me. And you jumped down, and we all started like shooting in the direction. And it was a couple of dudes pop shots. They got killed like immediately. And I was like, I can't wait. I've been holding that story for 20 fucking years, waiting to tell that story because that was the funniest, craziest shit I've ever seen. And that was like,
You
literally,
guys know that my wife's gonna watch this, right?
yeah, good. That's fine. She needs to know. That was literally in the last. We left, I think, a week or two after that. Like that was literally at the very end of our deployment, and I was like, this is the weapons company I know. Is that these dudes were fucking balls out to the very end. Even if you felt nervous on the inside, boy, you sure did not fucking show it that day.
I hate the fact that you were there to see that shit because I remember that that is hell. And yeah. Oh shit.
Good. I've been waiting to tell that story for 20 years.
So the same situation happened in Snangin in 2012. We got in a big old gunfight and we were doing a medevac and my guy was trying to get on the radio. One of my sergeants was trying to get on the radio to do the medevac. And he is flipping out on the radio. And I'm a big stay calm kind of guy. And I get out of my vehicle, get out of my MRAP, and I walk across the battlefield. And I walk up and I open up the door on his vehicle. And I'm like, hey, I had to do it in person because I couldn't get him on the radio. I said, look, calm down. Call in this 9 line. Get this guy out of here. And they tell that story every fucking time we get for a fucking idiot. I said, well, it's my job. Like, I'm sorry. I was a brand new corporal at the time when that happened. I was probably a pretty seasoned staff sergeant at that, actually, when I went to Snangin. But I'm like, look, it ain't about me. It's about us. And look, I need to keep everybody calm. And then dude, I can't believe you told that fucking story.
It's my best Wade story. It's my only specific Wade story.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember
that. Yeah, you can confirm that was your crazy ass. Yes.
I do. I mean, I got to be honest with you. Like, my wife is probably the best, like, Marine wife I've ever seen. She's done KVN stuff. She's done all this other stuff. And she held the shit down when I was over there overseas playing G.I. Joe and doing all the dumb shit that I do. And then, I just try to shield her from stories like this. And she's going to hear about her a dumbass.
You're here now. And it has
that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say it has a happy ending.
Yeah.
Well, if you have to sleep on the couch for a week or two, I'm sorry.
No, man, I got spare bedrooms in this house, man. My kids are moved out. Good.
You planned ahead.
Well, wrapping this shit up, you've actually already put down a really great message about how important it was that everybody took care of each other over there. And I think that's understated. I think the combat stories are cool, but I do think the brotherhood and literally, I've never felt more connected to people in my life than I did on that deployment because of that, because we were taking care of each other and people really were invested in giving a fuck. And it wasn't just in your platoon. It was in the other platoons and even in the other companies. Like, I met up with dudes literally in the middle of the street in Golf and Fox Company. And I was like, are you okay? Do you need water? Like, are you fucking good? Do you want to just chill in the truck for a minute? Like, random shit. I don't know if that's universal because, again, this was my only combat deployment. I can't speak for other stuff. Yeah. But I am curious, what does this deployment mean to you? Because you had a little bit more season and experience, and now it's 20 years later of reflection.
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy because, like, when we were doing it, I didn't think it would have the effect that it did across, so many generations. And like I told you, my son, he learned about it in boot camp. He learned about it in the School of Infantry. The other day I got a text message from a guy I work with now. He's like, "Hey man, I'm watching that documentary on Jocko, and he's talking about being in Ramadi in 2006, and they were showing pictures of guys, the Marines that were around and stuff like that. He used a picture of me walking across remember when Oliver North was with us? Mm-hmm. He's videotaping us walk through the the downtown market center there.
Yeah.
And we had this and there's video of that in his documentary. So it all gets mixed up, like it's same city, same fight, whatever. I get it. But that deployment, it kind of was one of those things where you got Marines that get trained to do their job and they never get a chance to do it. And it sucks for them, but then you get what you asked for and it really sucks because a lot of your guys get hurt.
Yeah.
That to me was a life lesson for me, especially when I stayed in and I became a platoon sergeant myself, that I'm not going to let certain things happen. A lot of mistakes were made on that deployment that got guys hurt. Some egos might have got some guys hurt. And I wasn't going to let that happen in any of my future units. So I say this to kind of wrap it up with leadership isn't always about like making yourself look good. It's about like taking care of your guys. And I hope, and I guess I can get my guys that, serve with me in 1-7 or whatever to, testify to this, but later on, hopefully I didn't make decisions that would get somebody hurt. Obviously mission, I mean, you got to complete the mission, but if you can do it safely and not worry about like what the history is going to judge you on and stuff like that. Yeah, like I learned a lot of lessons in that deployment that made me a better leader, I think. And being surrounded by great guys like you two and, Gunny Cook and all these other guys to show me how to be later in life was immeasurable. Like I can't, like I use it in my daily life. I live my life like that with honor and try to protect people like we should. And I learned all of that on that deployment.
That's good, man. That's a great way to wrap it up, honestly.
Yeah. I kind of babbled on there, but
not at all.
Not at all.
No. That was a perfect way to say it. Is lesson of hubris is very, very hard for people to learn.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
It was an honor to be to fight alongside of you, man. If you like what you heard, make sure you subscribe for future episodes on your favorite podcast service.